Hello.
Jeez, hi.
You need to be faster. I don't know what you're waiting around for.
I was itching my eye. That's why I was a little late today.
So you can't talk and scratch your eye at the same time?
I couldn't see when the thing started, so...
I was going off of audio.
I cannot hear the intro.
Oh, that's right.
Jeez.
I suck. Okay. Do you want to start over? You can say hi first.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hey.
We are back with another episode of What's Your Favorite Scary Story. My name's Alyssa.
I'm Marlene.
And yeah, we've got a good one for you guys. Before we get into any of that, anything you want to touch on before we get started today?
I do.
Let's hear it.
I'm glad you didn't forget.
Of course not.
So if anyone listening is as deep into like the paranormal, what would you call it? Like the paranormal,
like the paranormal investigator drama.
Well, yeah, but it's more of like the field of it, you know? Like if you're into like paranormal,
just everything.
Yeah, basically, because if you would know about the paranormal drama that's going on right now. And I want to talk about it, and I discussed this with Alyssa last week because I was like, babe, we have to fucking talk about this. And Alyssa's just a very nice person. If you haven't met her in person, she does not have like an inch of a single droplet, a fucking micro droplet of hate in her. Like Alyssa, I love, this is one of my favorite parts about her. Is that she just is such a good person. Like she just can't physically like hate anybody.
I mean, like I've said in like a previous episode, I'm not religious. Like the faith I follow is just be the best person you could be and be kind. And so that's like all I try to do. I do my best.
Yeah, and it's like I needed Alyssa in my life because I tend to mirror the people around me. And I feel like I've personally gotten nicer since I've known Alyssa. And she's mine, and I'm so happy that I get to share her with my family. And
oh my god, where are we going with this? What are we talking about?
Anyway,
I love you.
I love Alyssa. I can talk about her forever. But so this drama that's going on, I was telling Alyssa we have to talk about it, but she's like, no, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to. I
just wanted to be like conscious about what we talk about and how we say it, basically.
Yeah, and she also just doesn't want to like spew hate on anyone, which in my eyes I'm not spewing hate. It's a lot of facts. And I felt like I am able to talk about it in a sense because we kind of had an experience with it,
right?
And so I figured I convinced her to let me talk about this, at least in the most like simplest way.
What's the word? Unbiased.
Yeah. So before I get into it, I do want to put a disclaimer that a lot of this is alleged. Jacqueline Nunez, if you're listening, please don't sue me because I'm also just speaking my truth in a sense.
You're just speaking the information you've gotten from people who had the first-hand accounts with it.
Right. So when we want to go visit the Conjuring house back in June, it was June 1st.
June 1st, yeah.
And I feel like I did briefly mention it on the Conjuring episode that when we arrived, we kind of had free grounds to
explore
walk
a little bit, yeah.
And out in the backyard, there was a cute dog, and I kept my distance because we don't know whose dog it was, first of all. And it turned out that it was the owner's dog. The owner's name is Jacqueline, and Nunez, actually. I don't think it's Nunez. Nunez is Latino, okay. So it doesn't have the little squiggly line on it, so it's Nunez, I guess. And it was weird because she didn't even acknowledge us. Like, She literally walked past us, did not acknowledge us.
She kept her like back to us the whole time.
Yeah,
like,
it was just very distant, and it was just weird because you'd think like, oh, welcome to my house is how she would approach
or at least
the
like
situation.
a wave, you know,
right?
Acknowledge us.
Exactly, because obviously if we're there, we know who the owner is. Like
we've seen the videos.
Yeah, you know who she is, and just the fact that that kind of gave me like a little like, oh, what the heck.
Yeah.
Like, I personally didn't like that. That's just not I don't know.
It's not like a good like business strategy in our opinion, I guess.
I mean, it's your house that you're
opening up. It's your business. It's like she owns the house, but she's operating a business out of it.
Right.
So
it was just weird, and I didn't like it. And again, the experience there, of course, the cats.
We have locked the cats out of the room tonight, so they're not fighting the entire time. But now they want to get in, of course. But hopefully that sound is a little more drowned out.
So our experience there, it was fun. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Was it spooky? I don't know. Maybe at some points it was. We just kind of thought that maybe Jacqueline was pressing a button to make a door open, right? And
or coming in and doing it,
right? Because she was in the house walking around while we were investigating, I guess. And we knew it was her. We saw her when we were down in the basement through the window,
right?
And it just kind of like ate into the experience, so it's kind of hard to fully judge the Conjuring experience. So while I was there, Alyssa and Diane were, I think you guys went upstairs to investigate.
Oh yeah,
the middle room
when it was getting like later in the night.
And I was really tired. I just wanted to like relax and sit down. I heard two of the guides talking about two other guides that were not at that house anymore, and they were kind of talking like a little judgy about about the paranormal other investigators that left.
Former employees.
The former employees, and I get it, you know, that sometimes, you know, but I thought it was kind of unprofessional in a sense, and I didn't like it because I knew who those former employees are. And it was just weird because then I had to pretend that I didn't know them. So, because I also kind of wanted like a little tea on it, so I can be like, oh wait, I don't know who this person is. Right. What's the whole hype about it? And then they just kind of bad mouth these people. So now just fast forward to the whole drama that's going on now. It came out that the owner was, in a sense, just a shitty boss.
Like, I guess, screwing over her employees,
not paying them, you know, and just taking advantage of people's gifts. You know, some people are born with like psychic abilities and like being able to talk to spirits and you know, all this really cool stuff. And what some of these employees, they would generously just give these readings and experiences to share with people, where normally you would have to pay to experience something like this if someone is, you know, giving their time and energy, you know. And Jacqueline was kind of like not exposing, she was exploiting
and kind of manipulating, because she would also say, if this topic comes up, don't talk about that, only talk about like this storyline.
Yes, and that's another thing. Thanks for reminding me. When we were there, you know, we obviously did our own research of the house, and when we would be asking questions about what we've read and found out, the tour guides wouldn't feed into it. They wouldn't talk about it. And it came out later that that's exactly what they were told to do. That if it doesn't fit the storyline that Jacqueline is trying to put out there, they're not allowed to talk about it. And
wasn't one of our tour guides one of the guys that left?
Yes. I mean, since I'm saying names, that tour guide, his name's Brian. Yeah. And it's just really sad because he left his job at I believe it was a government job. I think he was getting paid very well. And he left that full benefits, full everything, 401s, fucking social, everything. He left all that to go work at The Conjuring, and she did not pay him. Jacqueline did not pay Brian, allegedly, like for
5 weeks of work.
Which was added up to $9,000 according to him.
Yeah.
Which is fucking wild.
That's crazy.
Because then that means he's obviously making more than 100, I think, a year.
Right.
And I think that's insane. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into it. I just think it's really crappy if all of this is true.
Right. Because it's such, like, an important, like, location in the paranormal field, and I just feel like it's not being ran in the right way. And
right.
I feel like that's honestly...
If it's true,
I feel like all this, like, not bad energy, but just not cool energy is, like, affecting the house, honestly. Maybe that's why we didn't experience very much there.
Right. No,
like,
I 100% believe
the spirits are like, screw this. Like, we don't like how things are happening here.
And they're not active.
Yeah.
Because, like, that girl and her brother that we met there, how they had visited before, and she was like, oh, it was way noisier before, and that day it just wasn't. And, yeah, it just sucked. And I thought that it was, we had to talk about it because we are paranormal. It's a paranormal podcast, and we talked about The Conjuring. We personally visited. We had personal experiences with these tour guides that are being affected now because the owner is just she's just acting really strange. And it's, yeah, I mean, we're small, and maybe anyone that's listening probably doesn't care, and it probably won't reach people that are interested. But
we're clearly invested, so
yeah, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. So thanks for letting me talk about it. You see, I told you I wasn't gonna
good job. You're respectful.
Yeah, I'm not, and it's not about talking shit. Like I've talked my shit, but this is like,
it's just crazy and sad.
Yeah, and I really hope that
I hope something's done to where she somehow miraculously comes around and, like, realizes she needs to appreciate her employees that are making her business possible, or if it's just not meant to be, like, the house kind of goes into better hands, and can kind of revitalize itself.
Right. Well,
because it's such, like, there's so much history there, and it's so, like, meaningful. Like, the Andrea Perrin, the oldest daughter that experienced the Conjuring events, still goes back to that place.
Yeah. Yeah, she was there at their Christmas party last year. Right. Like, everyone
it means so much, obviously.
Everyone was so invested. And it's just so sad to fucking see it.
Because, like, if
crumbling,
if more employees, like, follow suit, she's not going to have anyone left to run it.
Right.
Funnily enough, I know we talked about that all because we're, a paranormal podcast. But since we have kind of opened things up a bit, I decided to just go full force and do a true crime story today.
Oh, okay, okay.
You acting all surprised.
Who suggested this?
So I decided not to make you wait 18 million years, and I took your suggestion for this week's story.
Oh, wow. Que milagro. What a miracle.
So, not to your surprise, this is the story of the Lauren Giddings case.
Okay,
it might be to your surprise. I don't know if you knew the victim's name, but that's the name of our victim today.
Okay. It's... Okay, good. Okay.
Because you knew...
I see what you did there, though. Instead of giving, like, a name to...
Yeah, no, we're not honoring the fucking
and that's not honoring. Bad guy. It's not honoring. That's just how I knew the case.
Right. I didn't even know if you knew his name. She just knew of this case because of, like, one detail that's interesting about it, but she didn't really know much more about it. So I'm here to inform her today.
Thank you. for not making me wait 18,000 million kajillion zazillion years.
You're so very welcome. Did you want to do your not so fun fact before we get into it?
Sure.
Cool. Go ahead.
Not so fun facts with marbles. Okay, so I don't really know a lot about this. I just know everybody knows this.
Okay.
You know? Or at least you've heard about it
Okay.
happening, and you're just like, okay, well, what can I do about it? Nothing, so I don't care, right? But at least that's how I think about it. Because I've always heard that, you know, there's microplastics everywhere. There's microplastics in your food and your water and everything that you do, like even in wind, like in like little wind currents. And yeah, that's my not so.
That's it.
Fun. I just don't know what you know like about microplastics.
So it's just like in everything and slowly killing all of us, or?
Well, we don't know if it's actually harming us.
Oh,
is what according to medical news
that's
today.
kind of fun then, not fun. That's like good news. If it's
I'm not saying that it's not harming us.
Okay.
It's just that we don't really know the full length effect because it's like microplastics have been in our food and water and cups and everything since most likely since
invented.
the 1950s kind of thing. And it's like how do you say it's doubled in a millionth sense?
What?
How do you say that it's like millionth
Squared?
Squared? It's like a million times worse than it was in the 50s now.
Oh, dang.
So I don't know if anyone understood what I was trying to say there, but you know how people are usually like, yeah, and since 5 years ago that rate has doubled now, and like
it's a million,
but in a million way, yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's
well,
not
like
fun.
Hundreds of millions fold kind of thing.
Wow, that's super not fun.
That's super not fun. And the type of microplastics that is we're mostly exposed to is packaging and shit like that's in our containers.
Uh-oh.
Like packaging as in Amazon boxes.
Uh-oh.
And in our containers
and what about like furniture boxes and like TV boxes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well we've had a lot of those in this house
because
in the past
it's even
month.
like it's like down to even smaller than the little furs that cardboard is made of. You know how cardboard has a little furry, hairy little substances? Like we've more than likely inhaled thousands of those.
Cool.
You know? And yeah, it's like been speculated that a lot of this is in highly processed foods. So everyone stop eating out. And I just had a McDonald's today.
Subway.
Yeah. And it's combined and it's like mixed into food, and it may be responsible for the development of like chronic conditions that includes like heart disease. So yeah, that's part of the not so fun fact. So a way if you want to try to avoid, you know, microplastics, since you know I don't really know much about it, I figured I'll help you avoid it, you know? Using eco-friendly packaging, that like glass containers and glass water bottles or stainless steel water containers. Yeah, I guess that's it. I didn't really like, I'll be honest with you, I really didn't do like a good amount of research on this. I just kind of...
That's okay.
Yeah.
It was still a helpful, not so fun fact, which is more than it normally is.
Yeah.
So, you had some good advice in there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Sorry,
for
it's
your not
all,
so
like...
fun fact.
Yeah.
Don't be sorry.
Yeah, I just you know I could have done not science, not so fun fact.
Well, you'll get them next time.
Like I said, like I feel like we've all heard of it happening, right. And we're just like,
you're just reminding us about it because it's not fun.
Also, I guess it doesn't matter anymore. I guess it's over. Whoa.
We got some thunder here in Tennessee.
Well, I was just going to say that in blood samples, when they were doing the research on this, I guess, it came out that 17 out of 22 people have microplastics in their blood. Oh. So, like, actually, I just remembered this. The way that this happens is that when we're consuming, like, water or whatever, like, it's not just sitting in our bellies, right? It's like the intestine walls are soaking the nutrients up, and the microplastics are so small that it's being
like absorbed
with it and into our circulatory system.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
that's surprising.
I thought that was fucking nutty.
Not fun.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I
so
mean,
17 out of 22 people. 17 people out of 22 people, which equals 77%.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
I love you. Sorry, we're just over 20 minutes and we've got a long story today.
I'm sorry. I just remembered like all these things that I read last minute.
Sounds about right.
I was like, oh wait, I just remembered this too. Sorry, everybody. Okay, I'm ready.
Good. Okay. So a reminder, this is the story of the Lauren Giddings case. Okay, now, so this is like hardcore true crime, only true crime. I need to just give an overall trigger warning. It's sad. There's some graphicness. Just heads up, if you don't like that kind of stuff, maybe you can skip this one. I give you permission. It's fine. But
okay, thank you.
Well, you can't skip it.
Well, I know. I'm just thanking you for anyone.
Them. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so Lauren Giddings was born on April 18th, 1984 in Tacoma Park, Maryland. She was the firstborn of 3 girls. She loved animals and was generally very well liked and never had any trouble making friends. She was also athletic, playing softball and field hockey in high school. Basically, she was like your well-rounded girl next door. So at first, Lauren wanted to go into medicine, but she changed her mind and decided to study law instead to become a public defender. This would come to be the biggest mistake of her life.
Damn.
Yeah.
Not going into law.
Not blaming her or anything, but like, man, she should have gone into medicine. I'm just saying. So in 2006, she graduated from Agnes Scott College, where she majored in political science and minored in religious studies. And then in 2004, she enrolled at Mercer University in Macomb, Georgia, to earn her law degree. So fast forward to 2007, Lauren was interning at a law firm where she met her boyfriend, David Vandiver. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But so David was 20 years older than Lauren.
She was like 20-something, right?
She was 23, but she didn't mind the age difference at all. She said they had a lot in common, had a similar sense of humor, and they just clicked right away. So she was down.
I guess. That's weird. It's like weird however you want to think about it. Like, I understand the age gaps. I'm not like fucking, I get it. But
I think it's just thinking back to like when we were 23. Like, I still felt like a child. Like, not child, but like not ready to like take on the world, and then to be dating like someone that's old enough to be my parent. Like,
it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I couldn't like picture it personally for myself, but
I get it. I'm not trying to knock it, like, to each their own.
I think it maybe would be a little bit different if it was like 35 and 55, because like 35 you've at least like experienced life, you're a true adult.
Yeah, like 30, 40 is fine.
Yeah.
30, 50, cool. 40, 60, whatever. But like anything 20s.
Yeah, it's just a little like you don't know life yet, you know? Exactly. We're still figuring it out.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
And like just saying like, oh, we have so much in common. Like, how do you know that they're not just wanting to say the right things to you to make you know?
Like, you love ketchup, I love ketchup.
Exactly. It's just weird to me. I don't know.
Anyways, so they dated for a few years while she finished up law school, and they actually planned for Lauren to move in with David after she graduated and took her bar exam. So in May 2011, Lauren graduated from Mercer Law School, and she hit the books right away to prepare for the bar exam. So she told her friends and family, like, hey, I'm going to be studying pretty much 24/7. So if I don't reply to texts or answer calls, like, don't think too much of it. I'm going to be, like, really focused on studying. So Katie O'Hare, one of Lauren's best friends, remembered this when she wasn't hearing back from Lauren. But by June 29th, after not hearing back from Lauren for 4 days, Katie started to get concerned. So Katie decided to reach out to other friends of Lauren as well as her family, but no one else had heard from her either. So the last person to actually hear from her was her boyfriend, David. I guess he was on like a golf trip in California, and he received an email from Lauren on the evening of June 25th. So that morning, the morning of the 25th, was the last time anyone saw her. She had gone out for drinks with her friends the night before, crashed at one of their houses, and then left in the morning. So we do know, I don't know if it's like because of security footage, but we know that after leaving her friend's house, Lauren went to the Macomb Country Club to swim and just chill out by the pool. And then she got some fast food and headed back to her apartment around 6:30 p.m. So now we're going to jump forward a few days to when her family and friends are like kind of starting to get worried. So Lauren's sister, Caitlin Wheeler, called one of Lauren's friends, Ashley Morehouse. She asked Ashley if she could go knock on Lauren's door to maybe get some answers, see if she's there. She did, but of course there was no answer and the door was locked. But she did notice that Lauren's car was there. So at this point, everyone was really getting worried, and they all felt that something just wasn't right.
I
know. It's true crime. This is what we signed up for.
I know.
So on the evening of June 29th, Lauren's childhood best friend, Lori Suspic, who was living in Chicago at the time, called the Macomb police to file a missing persons report. So an officer went out to her apartment around 11 p.m., but there was no sign of forced entry and everything seemed secure. But of course, that wasn't good enough for Lauren's friends. So Ashley, that was the friend that originally went to knock on her door, and there was no one there.
Right.
She knew where Lauren kept her spare key. So she and a few other girls that were friends with Lauren decided to go inside and investigate. They found all of Lauren's personal items in the apartment. This included her keys, purse, cell phone, and laptop. But Lauren was not there.
Whoa.
That's when you know it's not good.
Right.
When people don't, like, okay, you forget one thing there kind of thing.
Right.
But all of those, like...
And her car is there?
Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
No
I
good.
do not remember any of this then,
Yeah.
because I thought they were going to find her there.
Oh, just wait. They discovered that Lauren's cell phone was dead, so they charged it and confirmed that Lauren had not contacted anyone or done anything on her phone for the last 4 days.
Fuck.
This is when Lauren's friends decided to call 911.
Damn.
So an officer arrived at the apartment at 12:52 a.m. The officer, as well as 2 Mercer University officers and Lauren's friends, searched the apartment complex, the surrounding area, and the library. So I think this was like, I don't know if it was like on campus or like right next to campus, but like an apartment complex like by the school for students mainly, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So Lauren was nowhere to be found. And around 3 a.m., they called off the search, and the next day, June 30th, at 9 a.m., an official investigation of Lauren's disappearance was launched. So, like, dozens of police officers arrived at the apartment complex, searching the area and interviewing all of Lauren's neighbors. So, less than an hour into the investigation, 2 officers enter an area to the left of the complex where the trash bins are kept. Pretty much immediately, they notice a foul odor coming from one of the bins.
Fuck, that close?
So we have a quote from one of those officers that said, "While we were standing there, the wind started to turn. Immediately, I smelled an odor that I was very familiar with.
Fuck.
We all smell things in life that smell bad, and that of a body or a decomposing body is one of the worst things you'll smell, but it has a very distinctive smell.
Fuck.
Isn't that just, like, haunting?
Yeah. Have you ever, like... Mm-mm. I mean, me either. I'm just saying, do you know what it's... what people compare it to?
No, but, like, I know it's such a specific smell and, like, nothing else smells like it, but I haven't experienced it.
I've heard that, or I've read, that it's similar to the smell of rotting pork.
Okay, that's very specific, because, again, I don't think I could pinpoint, like, specifically pork.
Right,
rotting,
and I've never... Exactly, I'll eat that shit, like, you know, like, I've never let it sit to rot.
Yeah.
Especially raw pork, but anything rotten, I'd imagine, smells, any rotten meat, you know.
It's not going to be a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
So, the officers begin looking through the bin, and it didn't take them long to locate the source of the smell. In the bin, wrapped in black trash bags and dressed only in jogging shorts, was a woman's torso.
Oh my god.
Just the torso. Marlene's face is, like, frozen.
Yeah, I don't... oh my god.
So another quote from that same officer stated, "They did not find the head, legs, or arms in either one of the trash cans. I had never seen anything like that before. Who could have done this? Because truthfully, only a monster could do something like that. It was absolutely horrible."
What the heck? Oh my gosh. That's just, first of all, just even I can imagine finding that must be horrifying.
Traumatic.
Yes. Like you're just, oh my god, no.
You're never gonna, like, forget the sight of that or the smell. So it's crazy too, because that day was actually trash day, but with all, like, the chaos of the investigation, the garbage truck couldn't make it through to empty the bins.
Wow.
And if they did, the body might have, like, never been found at all, because it was gonna go to the landfill.
Right. Imagine how many people get away with it.
Yeah.
Though. Like,
they're like, shit, I will throw it in at 4 a.m. before the trash truck comes.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh my god. Wild. Okay. That's a not so fun fact.
Well, I don't know if it's a fact, but I don't know what the stats on that
It's a probable fact.
Yeah, I would believe it.
Yeah.
If someone was trying to bullshit me, I'd be like, that's actually...
I can't say that's not a thing.
Yeah.
So by July 6th, it was confirmed with DNA testing that the torso did in fact belong to Lauren. So detectives start asking residents in the apartment complex if they could do walkthroughs of their apartments. They were completely voluntary, and all of the residents reserved the right to say no. But none of them had a problem with it, and they let the officers in to do their search. That is until they got to the apartment of Stephen McDaniel. So Stephen was hesitant at first to let the officers in, but after being told all of his neighbors let them in, he agreed. So while not illegal for Stephen to own, these are the items in his apartment that caught the eyes of the officers. A large knife, a samurai sword, a rifle, and 2 handguns.
Okay.
Which, like, if I wasn't with you, I feel like you'd have a samurai sword by now.
100%.
Yeah. Every time we're in that store in the mall, you're like, oh, look.
Yeah. I love that shit.
And I'm just like, everything, whatever. But in the office or in the loft, fine.
Yeah, but this is how much I respect Alyssa. Like, I'm always like, okay, babe, what if I get this instead of a gun, though? Like,
I'm like, get all the Pokemon cards you want. It's fine.
Yeah, Alyssa's not a gun person.
I'm paranoid.
I get it.
And I mean, and if you do, like, actually snap one day and
right,
decide to come after me,
or
exactly,
you can freaking snap.
If one of us snaps, or if, I mean, we've got some clumsy cats too. That's always something on my mind.
Yeah, I could never hurt someone like that, first of all.
I know.
Secondly, I don't know. It's a lot of money to own a gun.
True.
So I'd rather, like, have a rifle, like a pellet rifle. Is that what they're called? They're called?
It's a pellet gun.
A pellet gun? Yeah, like in a rifle shape kind of stuff. Maybe a slingshot instead, you know?
With, like, a silver bullet.
Yeah, maybe I might just get a paintball gun instead.
Sure. You should paint our fence like that. That'd be cool.
Nah. That's okay. Never mind. I'm not getting a paintball gun.
Anyway. Okay, so we're getting back to the story that's tragically horrible and sad.
Yeah, we have to, like, you know.
Yeah, we're throwing in the humor because we don't want to go to bed crying tonight, you know? We need to keep things lighthearted.
Yeah.
Okay, so next comes the cadaver dogs. They were walked around the entire apartment complex, and there were just 6 areas where they caught a scent. Outside of Lauren's apartment, in her bathroom, outside Steven's apartment,
Whoa.
in his bedroom, in a vacant apartment below Lauren's, and in the building's shared laundry room.
Fuck.
So, later that afternoon, Steven was arrested. But it was actually because he admitted to going into his neighbor's apartments a couple months ago and stealing condoms from them. So he was arrested for, like, burglary.
What?
It's so random.
Maybe it was, like, in a way to like, possibly avoid being
right. Like, oh, see,
suspect.
I'm being honest with you.
Right.
Kind of thing. Well, it, like, did the opposite, really. So, although the cops found this odd, they used this burglary charge to interview him about Lauren.
Of course.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying, like, dude, you could have done this. You could have gone away with it. I'm just saying, like I have a feeling he was trying to,
yeah,
you know, persuade
throw
like,
them off his scent.
Yeah, throw them off and, like, say, like,
it.
well, I did steal my neighbor's condoms, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
So, yeah, they used him admitting that to, you know, ask him questions about Lauren, because they were already suspicious due to him initially resisting the police entry and the items the police found in his home and the results of the cadaver dog search.
Right, like, the dogs are, like,
yeah,
definitely, they're
like,
gonna give you away, bro.
Yeah, we can trust our canine service dogs.
100%.
Yeah, we have no question with them.
Yep.
So they interrogated Steven for about 2 hours, and the whole time he kind of acted like a lost little boy and pretty much answered every question with, "I don't know." Now, this was interesting to the interviewing officer because Steven was acting very different compared to the interview he had done that morning.
Okay.
So, yeah, he had done an interview with a reporter from a news station in the morning while the whole investigation was still going on. And he answered her questions totally normally, giving, like, long and detailed responses, except when the reporter brings up that a body had been found. His demeanor completely changes. He tells the reporter that he needs to go sit down, and he doesn't come back for another 20 minutes.
Which, you know, if you see it, if you're watching it as a viewer, you know, you're just watching the news,
right,
trying to stay up to date with this missing persons case, you can be like, oh, look, like, he obviously knew her.
Right.
He's so upset that that's her body they found, you know? Poor guy is so sad that his friend is passed.
Yeah.
But that's not the case, though, right?
We'll see. So he does come back and finish the interview, like, after 20 minutes. And he actually gives the reporter several pieces of information. He talks about what he and the other people found in Lauren's apartment the night before.
What?
So, yes, he showed up, like, at the apartment when Lauren's friends were searching around, which was odd because they didn't really know, like, why he was there.
Right.
Because to them, like, he's some random neighbor. He also tells the reporter what he knows about what Lauren did the day that she disappeared and the evening before, which it's never proven like why he knows this information.
Right.
And probably most weird of all, he says that Lauren mentioned in an email that she thought someone might have broken into her apartment. Stevens says that this email was sent to, quote, a friend in Atlanta. This friend he's talking about was actually her boyfriend, David. If you remember, that email was the last time that anyone had heard from her that she sent to David.
But how would he know that?
It's not clear how Steven knew what was in the email. It's speculated that Lauren's friends maybe were looking at her email to like get some intel on where she could be, and he was just randomly there.
And overheard it.
Yeah, or like saw it. But either way, that's creepy.
Yeah, because he totally could have written it.
Yeah, that's true.
If
I didn't think about that.
I mean, do we know if he did it or not?
I'm not going to let you jump ahead to the end of the story.
Well, I mean, we just kind of talked about it right now.
It's creepy. I'm just going to leave it at that. Like, that's just weird to also just say, like, yeah, in an email that she sent to friends, she said this. Like, why would he know that? Like, that's just weird. A weird thing to say to a reporter.
Right.
And lastly, throughout his interview with the reporter, he hypothesizes what might have happened to Lauren. He said she went jogging a lot, and he thought maybe she was snatched while out on a run.
Okay.
So, fast forward, back to Steven's interrogation. So, literally the next day after his interrogation, July 1st, he was in court for his condom burglary charge.
That's wild. Oh, my God.
I know. Like, isn't this something, too, that also would just be, like, if the neighbors want to press charges kind of thing?
It depends on the state.
Oh, okay.
Because if the person doesn't want to press charges on you, it still could be considered a misdemeanor or a felony in that state, and that state will go after you.
Got it. Okay. So, he ends up being charged with 2 counts of burglary and is denied a request for bail. I mean, presumably because of all the other stuff going on.
Right. I mean, they already kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that same day, the police served Steven with a warrant to search his apartment. Here is a list of items that they seized from the apartment. 2 handguns, a rifle, rope, 4 baseball bats, a bayonet, a chainmail vest, a camera, a laptop, a cell phone, an external card drive and a memory card reader, receipts, a green scrub sponge, 2 keys, and a journal. They also searched his car, from which they took fabric samples from the back seat because there were dark stains on it that looked like dried blood.
Oh, damn.
And then at the jail, they served Steven a search warrant on himself, taking hair samples, cheek swabs, fingernail scrapings, and photos of him.
Wow.
So by July 20th, Steven was still in jail for his burglary charge, and the week and a half leading up to this day, the police search his apartment a few more times, and they seize a few more items, including a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 3, an Xbox and accessories, compact discs, memory sticks, memory cards, another laptop and another camera, 2 adult magazines, packaging for a Stanley hacksaw, and a pair of women's underwear, which ended up having Lauren's DNA on them.
Wow. What scum, dude. What a scummy guy.
Speaking of, if that wasn't already bad enough, those like memory sticks that they took, they ended up having 52 indecent images of children on them.
Wow. Wow.
Extra gross. The worst kind of gross.
Right.
So, of course, they also searched his laptop, where they found multiple disturbing internet searches. Some of the searches were specifically about Lauren. He had visited her Twitter profile just like so many times and had searched her name all over the internet. These searches included things like nude Lauren Giddings. There were also just like super disgusting, perverted searches like molest sleeping girl. And he visited porn websites that featured cannibalism and dismemberment. On the day Lauren's body was found, he searched how to permanently erase search history.
Wow.
Like, be more obvious, dude.
Right. Like, I don't even know what to say to that.
It's just horrible. It's just all horrible.
It's just horrible. It's gross. Obviously, this guy was obsessed and, like, not well in the head.
Nope.
And it's just disturbing.
Yep. So on August 2nd, 2011, police issued an arrest warrant charging Stephen McDaniel with the murder of Lauren Giddings. So here are some pieces of evidence they referred to in this warrant. Investigators recovered a hacksaw at Barrister's Hall, which had been hidden in the laundry room at the apartment complex. Forensic examination of the saw would reveal that it had traces of Lauren's DNA on it. The packaging for the saw was found in Stephen's apartment. One of the keys they seized from Stephen's room turned out to be a master key for the apartment complex, giving him access to every unit, including Lauren's. And lastly, shortly after Lauren's torso was found, investigators received a call from a former roommate of Stephen. This person told police that when they lived together, Stephen would often tell him about how he could commit the perfect murder and never get caught. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag.
I don't know. Would you even report that to someone? Like, how?
I feel like an anonymous tip and like giving the police like his name couldn't hurt anything.
Right.
Like, you're not like taking up their time.
Right. Yeah.
Just like keep an eye out, you know.
Right.
So, August 3rd, the day after Stephen was served the arrest warrant, he appeared in court for the murder charge and pleaded not guilty.
Right.
On August 23rd, he was charged with 7 counts of child sexual exploitation for the child pornography found on the memory sticks. In December, he pleaded not guilty to those charges. His bond was set at $850,000, which his family could not pay, so he stayed in jail awaiting his trial. Freaking good.
Right, yeah, don't let that man's out.
Okay, so we are now in February of 2013. We're jumping forward 2 years. And prosecutors announced that they will not be pursuing the death penalty. This following statement is from the county district attorney. Recently, I met with the family of Lauren Giddings and discussed the case with them in length. At the close of the meeting, Lauren's mother and father asked me to withdraw the death notice. Although they believe that Mr. McDaniel deserves to be punished to the fullest extent of the law, they recognize that withdrawing the death notice will allow the case to proceed in a more timely fashion and will result in the state achieving justice for Lauren at a sooner date.
As in the death penalty, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
In the interest of avoiding further delays, my office will not seek the death penalty for Mr. McDaniel.
Wow.
Which I get it, because, I mean, I read that if you do go for the death penalty, just the whole case can take up to 7 years. And I understand them not wanting to wait, 7 years for justice, and then it might not even, happen, you know?
Right, and I understand, because it's also, a grieving process kind of thing.
Yeah, they're going through a lot right now.
And, I think this year was, the 7th year I lost my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And feels like such a long time ago, but it also feels so recent. Right. And I can't imagine having to, relive that moment every single day.
Yeah.
Because, the first year, I was reliving it because there were still things, paperwork and all that stuff that my sister was, still doing that she had to let us know about. And it was fuck, it's so...
It's a constant reminder.
And it just kind of fucking... Yeah, I'm sorry for cussing. I'm trying my best not to cuss on this anymore. But it just weighs on you. And I don't know how to explain it. It's just this cloud over you that it's just... it kind of like withers away with time. But that first year is just maybe 2-3 years too. Like, I don't know.
And I mean, you can't even really put a time frame on that.
No, you can't.
You know, I'm sure it's personal for everyone too.
You're always healing.
Right.
Like, that's like the worst part of losing a family member, is that you're always grieving. Like, that never goes away. And I cannot imagine having to relive that day over and over for 7 years.
To relive that day over and then deal with the stress of the trial.
So I get it. I feel like I can, as an outsider, I'm like, no, like, F that man, you know, like, give him the chair. But no, I get it. It's just so frustrating. I wish that process was quicker. It should be like within the process of everything. I don't know why it has to be so intricate. Like, obviously an eye for an eye. Give them the chair. Like, inject them with the thing. Like,
we're not gonna get into that.
I know.
Yeah, so on April 21st, 2014, just a week before his trial was due to begin, Stephen unexpectedly pleaded guilty to Lauren's murder.
As he should have.
Yeah, so he knew he was screwed.
Well, no, yeah.
Yeah, so this was part of a plea deal in which Stephen had to give a statement detailing exactly what happened to Lauren the night she was murdered. The prosecution agreed to drop the burglary and child sexual exploitation charges in exchange for Stephen accepting the deal. So at 28 years old, that's how old you are, Stephen was sentenced to life in prison. The earliest he will be eligible for parole is 2041. However, the district attorney said the possibility of him being released is very unlikely. So, do you want to hear his description of what happened the night of the murder?
Oh, he actually says...
That was part of his deal. He had to, write it down. You ready?
Yeah, I am ready.
Okay. So, according to Stephen's statement, on Sunday, June 26th, at around 4:30 a.m., he put on a mask and a pair of gloves. He used the master key found in his room to enter Lauren's apartment. He insisted that he did not, quote, sexually accost her. He watched her sleeping for a short while, but she woke up when she heard the floor creak. When she saw him, she told him to get the fuck out. Stephen then jumped onto the bed, put his hands around her neck, and began strangling her. The two struggled and fell off the bed. On the floor, Stephen strangled Lauren to death. He placed her in the bathtub in her apartment and went back to his apartment across the hall. He stayed there for the entire day on Sunday. Around midnight, he returned to Lauren's apartment and dismembered her body using the hacksaw the police found in the laundry room with her DNA on it. He then disposed of her remains, putting them in black trash bags and dumping them in trash bins on the law school campus across from Barristers Hall, which was their building. The next day, he disposed of her torso in the trash bin at the apartment complex. So yeah, that was his statement.
So do we know, was he just a weird friend that was obsessed with her?
Yeah, I'm not done yet.
Oh, okay.
But, so interestingly, almost 4 years after Stephen pleaded guilty, he actually filed a petition for a new trial. He represented himself and claimed that his constitutional rights were violated throughout the investigation and before the trial. He argued that investigators documented in the report that he was verbally unresponsive, staring off into space, and showed little evidence that he was mentally engaged with the officers. And apparently they did not wait for him to be cleared health-wise by medical staff before they asked him for consent to search his apartment. The judge did reject his bid for a new trial because
he's not well.
You're not entitled. Well, you're not entitled to make sure you're okay. Bro.
You clearly murdered someone. Yeah. I don't think you have rights.
That's not gonna make it happen so that you didn't do that.
Right.
He's just trying to find the loophole in the system.
Yeah, but he's done, dude.
Yep.
So
why did he do it? There honestly isn't really much of an answer. Him and Lauren didn't really know each other that well. He had asked her out like a few times, but she politely let him down easy. But yeah, like we were saying, I just honestly think there's something wrong with him mentally. I feel like maybe he might have like built up in his head that maybe they had something. Clearly, there was much more like interest and obsession on his end. And then there was that thing that his former roommate mentioned, that he just said he could get away with murder.
Right.
And also something I haven't mentioned yet, he had apparently posted on multiple internet blogs and forums about his general hatred for women and his desire to hurt them.
That's weird.
Yeah, but so given all this information, I still like don't necessarily believe that the murder was premeditated. Like, I kind of just think he was there being a creep and like watching her sleep, but then she woke up and he just like didn't think and kind of let his impulses take over. That's just my opinion. There are theories that say it was premeditated and he got some sort of like sexual thrill from the murder. I mean, but we'll probably never know.
I feel like it was more of a like, I can't fucking have you.
Maybe,
so no one
yeah,
can,
like she's responding negatively and telling him to get out.
Yeah, which is like,
yeah. I'm just saying, if she hadn't woken up, I'm like wondering if he would have done it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Personally, that's my theory.
Yeah.
Is that...
Well, and it was theorized too that if he wasn't caught, he definitely would have like killed more women, just based off of like the evidence in his history.
Right. Well, he's obviously
all of the fucking weapons in his apartment.
Yeah, like it was bound to happen. Unfortunately, she was his victim. But I just don't think he was like.
Yeah.
There's just some people who don't take rejection well, and I think that's probably what happened, and it just fueled his
mental illness.
Yeah.
Really.
And it's
unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the case of the murder of Lauren Giddings. Rest in peace to Lauren.
RIP.
All of our condolences to her family. It's just so sad.
It's just so sad that, and we talked about this last Friday, but how women are just, how do I say it? Like, how some men, not all men, because there are some good men out there, and I personally know a good handful of men that are very respectful, and I appreciate that. But there's like women out there who don't get to have that, or don't get to experience that, and they get like harassed or
just because they're not interested.
Right, and that's just, it's like fucked up.
Like the fact that it's like, oh, be ready with the, oh, sorry, I'm married, sorry, I'm gay. There shouldn't have to be anything after sorry. Just say like, sorry, I'm not interested, and that should be all the reasoning we need to give them. But where I feel like women are used to that not being enough, and then they are still having to defend why they aren't interested in someone.
Right, and that just
like, no means no, and that's all the answer you need. No is a full sentence, right, as they say.
Yeah. And luckily, there are people who understand. Thank God. But I mean, in this case, obviously, and there's thousands and thousands, maybe millions of women that, like I had my coworker tell me about her wife, like having to. I don't want to get. I'm not going to get into it, but having to like, resolve her trauma from men, and how she hates men.
Right.
And it's like, I get it, because I was kind of there in a way, but I've met so many like respectful men in the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years, that I've become friends with them, that like have helped me not look at all men like that,
right.
And
Yeah.
it's so beautiful how it kind of heals that part of you in a way, and you're not just looking at every man with like a disgusted
right.
face, like.
And I mean, it's like, it's sad that that's where we are, where a lot of people just have that general impression of men, but like also it's not our fault, because it's like you're obviously not going to hear of like all the respectful men that people have met in their life, but you're going to hear about all the disrespectful and dangerous men that they've encountered, you know? And so that's like the image we get portrayed to us. And I mean, it's like a lot sadder ending these episodes with a true crime ending, but it's definitely like a more important topic to cover for sure. So I like that we've expanded into this. Thank you for our very first true crime story, babe.
Thank you for
picking it.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I wasn't gonna make you wait again.
I didn't know how like how just sad this one was.
I didn't know anything about it at all. Basically what we know is we saw it online, the video of his interview, and the captions like the moment that the murderer realized that they found his victim's body. And that's like all we saw. Yeah, and
I chose this one because, I mean, like you said, we saw the video, but I just didn't think that it was, I don't know, I think it's just more sad because it's like we just talked about, like women having to go through this thing where men are just...
And it's her freaking neighbor, where she's supposed to go home and find peace and safety.
Be comfortable, and it's like, dude, oh my God, I
it's like
that.
And then anyone living in an apartment complex, it's like, you know, you think probably there's someone out there that has like a key to all these apartments. It's like not to like freak anyone out there. But basically what we're saying is not all men are bad, but there are a lot of bad men out there. So try not to like preconceive an idea, but just be on alert, be like conscious with your decisions and where you go. If you go somewhere alone, just be like aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, and I think something we should start doing is like letting people know, hey, this guy's kind of weird. Like, I mean, he hasn't done anything yet, but he was acting weird with me like a day ago. You know, like just letting people know, like,
don't just brush it off.
Weird experience.
Yeah, don't think, oh, it's just in my head. Like, talk about, because it's important, because at my last condo there was a guy that lived in a house behind the complex, and there was a grocery store next to like his house and our complex, and he just was always out harassing girls and just being creepy. And I was always kind to him, because in my head I'm like, if I'm rude to him, it's just gonna set him off, and I don't need that. And it got to the point where these poor girls, there was a Vons next door, that was the grocery store, and there was a Starbucks in there, and the girls that working at the Starbucks have told me that they've had experiences with him, and they're like stuck at work. Like I've been at that Starbucks waiting for my drink, and he's been around. I was like, I'm gonna come back for my drink, I'm gonna go hide in the back of the store, and I'll come back. But they don't have that option, they're just stuck. I mean, I like have those feelings sometimes too, like working in retail, but I mean, I'm hiding if something happens. Like, that's what they tell you to do, like save yourself however you need to.
Save yourself. And if you're a dude, if you're a man listening to this, like, just look out for your women, bro.
Look out for your women, like, and don't be a creep.
Like, don't be respectful. Be respectful.
Think of how like things could come off to women, even if you don't think it's creepy. Just think about your words before you say them. Because women have to deal with this shit.
It's a whole new, like, it's a different like time too. Like, I think it's time to just kind of,
Anyway, sorry. I could go on and on about this.
It's fine.
We've opened up a whole new can of worms with this true crime stuff.
Well, everybody stay safe out there.
Stay safe.
Be respectful.
Be respectful.
Be respectful.
And stay safe. And
Nope.
No, we're not done.
I do want to. I want
what
to
else?
Clarify the disclaimer that, just earlier with the whole Conjuring thing. Just double covering my ass, my steps. What I talked about is alleged. Nothing is. There's videos out there. You can Google Jason Hawes, YouTube Jason Hawes, and his daughter Satori Hawes, I think is still her name. I don't think she's married yet. But they talk about it. They go into depth. If you're interested in it,
all of them except for Jason. He just did the video because of his daughter and he has a platform, but everybody else has a first-hand experience with Jacqueline.
Yeah, so, that's my disclaimer. It's alleged. My, experience is personal, but that was my experience, and I don't know the extent of, the truth to everything that's being said, but yeah, don't come for me, Jack Ellen.
But yeah, that is all. And
that's all. Yes, thank you for listening. You're the best. We love you. We see you.
We appreciate you.
Whoever listens to this, we freaking see you, dude. So we appreciate it.
And then please help us see you more by writing in what you want us to talk about on this podcast. You have so many options now with true crime being included. Where can they send them to?
They can send them to whatsyourfavoritescarystory@gmail.com or
you can DM us on Instagram, which is also What's Your Favorite Scary Story.
Yeah, and maybe you have a personal experience in the true crime.
Yeah, we will take those stories too.
Or, whatever.
The paranormal, seeing aliens, or cryptid, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I want to hear it all.
Yes, please. But yes, we urge you to stay safe and stay spooky.